Finally, some Pantheon nerfs. He's only been OP for a whole year? Hello Summoners and welcome back to another Pro Guides video. I'm Zyrene and today I'll be giving you the patch preview change list for 10.21. We just received some confirmed news that these are the champions that are being nerfed or buffed next patch. The specific changes aren't out yet, but we'll cover those in our upcoming changes video, which will be released tomorrow when all the details have been revealed. So hit that sub button to be notified of that and stay alert. But before we get into the video, I'd like to recommend you to visit us at ProGuides.com. We have the best roster of coaches, top-tier live classes from instructors like Mike Young, Saskio, and even myself, and courses covering a variety of roles and champions from your favorite pro players, like Doublelift. Personally, I highly recommend our VOD review feature. The way it works is you send in a replay file, and the coach sends you back a fully reviewed VOD. It's a super convenient option that saves you some time, so give it a try. Now, without further ado, let's get started. To start things off, let's talk about the list of champion nerfs first. Samira, thank God, Hecarim, Graves, Nidalee, Camille, and Pantheon support are all on the chopping block for patch 10.21. Usually I disagree with a champion or two on this part of the list, but this time around, I'm actually 100% on board with all of the targeted champions. With her being brand new, Samira isn't even available to be picked at Worlds, but that's honestly a good thing. In her current state, she's disgustingly strong, and I'm sure she'd be at or near 100% pick or ban. In solo queue, she's been a monster, and she needed a hotfix just a day after her release. Even with her skill floor being arguably the highest in the game for a marksman, she's still doing pretty well, with Samira Masters being able to play pretty much solo carry games. So hopefully she will be knocked down a notch or 2, or 5, she's pretty OP, in the next patch. Hecarim has been a constant yo-yoing champion, bouncing up and down the jungle tier list for a while, but with the ghost buffs earlier in the season, he's been steadily between the A and S tiers, with the summoner spell enabling him to avoid being kited in teamfights. Nidalee has been largely slept on in solo queue, but she's been such a massively dominant force at Worlds that Riot is tuning her down before that starts to spill over into solo queue. The issue is, she can easily be built to carry or just fall back on being a utility bot with her heal not only restoring a lot of health, but also granting a pretty hefty attack speed buff, all on a low cooldown. Honestly, I think that AP carry Nidalee is a healthy champ reliant on securing an early lead to do well, but they need to target her heal to take away from her always having a backup plan as insurance. Graves, Camille, and Pantheon support have all been problems for quite a while, with them all three being top-tier solo queue stompers, and also being top picks in Worlds this year. Graves, like Nidalee, is just too safe of a blind pick. He can power farm, has decent ganks, and serves as a second ADC with insane burst damage. While he lacks the super utility Nidalee has to fall back on, he has a super low mechanical skill floor, meaning with good pathing and smart decisions, he can easily dominate a game. While she does have a couple of counters, Camille is just extremely well-rounded, with her kit giving her a perfect mix of short bursty trades, poke, and sustain. She basically can't lose lane, has solid skirmishing and teamfighting, and is one of the best duelists in the mid to late game, making her an incredible split pusher. Usually when it comes to melee kill lane supports, you rely on hitting a skill shot to CC your enemy, and for your carry to do most of the damage. Pantheon throws that balancing ideal out the window, with his point and click stun and crazy high burst damage, making him the best kill lane support in the game. While he's not necessarily super popular in solo queue, he does really well when paired with a duo partner, and with Worlds putting the spotlight on how strong he is, he's sure to rise in popularity. Now for the champions that are getting buffed. We have Corki, Aphelios, Trundle, Lee Sin, Karma, and Udyr all getting some love. To start off, I don't really know about Trundle and Karma being on this list. Trundle isn't really weak per se, he's just a situational pick in that he does well in certain compositions and not others. I'm afraid that if they buff him to do well or at least average all of the time, he'll completely dominate the games he already does well in, like when the enemy takes a tank jungler. As for Karma, we see it almost every season. She gets a buff, becomes an ultra lane dominant support, and can transition to strong skirmishing and team fighting, and sometimes ends up in the mid lane. I don't think she's particularly bad right now, but if you've seen the new Odyssey skins, you'll probably understand why she's randomly on this list. Lee Sin definitely needs a tiny bit of a nudge in the right direction. Even at the top of the ladder, he's in the negative. When he's in a healthy spot, you need strong mechanical skill on top of split-second decisions to get the most out of his kit. But when you consider the other champions we talked about before, like Nidalee and Graves, you see why Lee Sin just isn't doing too well. While I am not exactly stoked about Corki being a meta mid laner again, I will say he's been doing pretty poorly for way too long now, and he definitely needed this attention. Let's just hope that they don't go overboard, since Corki follows the same type of hyperscaling that Kassadin does when he's strong, with a much safer and stronger early game. I know, but before everyone gets uptight about Aphelios and 200 years memes fill the comments, you should all know that his win rate has been negative in solo queue for a while. In fact, outside the top of the ladder, Aphelios has been doing poorly since the start of the season. Hopefully, whatever buffs they give him will help him do better overall without making him the absolute best pick in pro play. And lastly, Udyr. I actually really don't know what to say here. It's not that I don't think he needs buffs, but I'm just not sure how you can make a champion with 4 auto attack based abilities good in modern day League of Legends. If you increase his damage to crazy amounts, that's not balance, that's overtuning. If he doesn't deal enough damage though, he just doesn't offer much. Honestly, can we just get his rework immediately after Mundo? Please, Riot? Thanks. And lastly, aside from those champions, we have a system change in Nimbus Cloak. This has been the go-to rune on champions in pretty much every single role, and Mark Yetter confirmed that this would be a nerf. And there's no surprise here. Hopefully the rune does remain viable, since it is nice on some champions, but as it stands, it's just too good on practically everyone. Like we mentioned earlier, guys, this is all the information that is available as of right now. However, these are the confirmed list of champions that will receive changes in patch 10.21, and like I said, we'll be posting the upcoming changes video tomorrow to cover every buff and nerf in detail, so smash that sub button to stay notified. That's all for now, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on the Rift.